Well, good evening, you Merry Canaries fans. Welcome to the wonderful Broadfield Stadium. There she is. That is the offending end, where Norwich City conceded the only goal of the game. They've been knocked out by League Two Crawley in the second round of the League Cup, which is quite a sobering experience, of course. Not one we're particularly unused to, of course, at Norwich City, but this time around was probably slightly different. I genuinely, and I think Daniel kind of admitted it actually when we were speaking to him after the game, that I think he quite fancied winning this competition, or certainly getting really far in it. And as a Premier League club in the cup competitions, there are only 19 at minimum better sides than you, so you should have a good opportunity as things progress to progress. And I know from a lot of the talk in pre-season, I think Norwich fancied maybe just seeing how they could do, because it would be a real fillip for them alongside the league campaign. And you know what this Norwich vintage is like. They want to be on the front foot and proactive. They don't want to bin off the cup competition and get knocked out. And I know a few of you might be quite shouting at me at this point, going, yeah, but he made 11 changes, which of course he did. But let's be honest, when you've got a squad, and I think this is just how it works now in modern football teams at this level, you've got to give those players game time, and they have to appreciate that they're going to be given that chance to shine. And there should be a degree of being disjointed, but Norwich played exactly the same way as they have done in the past. I mean, sure, it's a side that's been put together for this game, but it shouldn't really be an excuse in terms of being disjointed. But of course it does make life a bit more difficult, even when you're playing a team 3 divisions lower down. And that was ultimately, along with the dynamic of the game, essentially what cost Norwich. It's a tricky one. They started off really lively. They had loads of space in attack, especially down the left. They created a few really good chances, especially early doors, and a horrible expression, hate saying that. Goalkeeper made 2 good saves low down. Then Crawley managed to get themselves ahead with a deflected shot off Adam Ida, which is obviously far from ideal. And it has to be said, the longer the half and the game went on, the more robust and determined Crawley's defensive line, and it was probably about 10 players deep at this point, the more determined it got, and the harder the task became for Norwich, and the more belief Crawley had. And I think, in terms of a raw plan, Norwich would probably win this game 8 times out of 10, but in terms of the way the dynamic happened, and I'm not brushing it aside, like Norwich weren't particularly good and some players were disappointing, but also the dynamic of the game has a profound effect on how it ends up as well. And Norwich couldn't break them down. It never really looked like doing it either. I think the reason I wasn't getting despondent myself as the game wore on was because probably from last season we know that they can score late goals, but it wasn't to happen tonight. And be honest, probably didn't really look like happening. Their best moments came in sudden flourishes. They hit the woodwork twice. Patrick Roberts in the first half, just to the side of me there, with a really neat move. And Emi Buendia, when he came on the second half here, struck one flush against the crossbar, which was a lovely effort. Adam Ida had a couple of really good chances, but couldn't take them on his senior debut. Has never played any senior minutes until tonight. He did okay, but I think he looks raw when playing in a League Two game, so I think you have to appreciate he's going to look like that in senior men's football, because he just hasn't got the experience. He's a very young man and he needs some opportunities, and he could probably do with a loan away just to get those under his belt. But he pushed himself, and he was really unfortunate with the goal. I mean, I think Daniel Farke was quite keen to repeatedly called it an own goal, as it was pretty unfortunate that he managed to deflect I think it was more of a low cross beyond Farman from quite close range. Ralph did pretty well, actually made one crucial save. Well, it wasn't crucial, but it was a very good save in the second half low, when Crawley caught Norwich on the counter. The robust and tricky Ollie Palmer with the shot, and should have scored really, but it was a good save. Should have been an important moment, but kind of rendered not the case by Norwich failing to beat the goalkeeper at the other end. So a bit hit and miss. We did see Christoph Zimmermann's first minutes of the season. He hasn't even played in pre-season, nothing at all. So the sight of him sort of with hip issues, I think, as he went off, hopefully is just in terms of pre-season tweaks that, this is him getting first minutes, so hopefully that won't be any issue going forwards. And Daniel Farke seemed to intimate that as much. Much more of a worry was Tim Closer, who got in with a challenge with Kamara, who also came off later on. It was in the centre of the pitch. It was pretty innocuous, but from the first moment, Tim Closer clearly felt his knee. I don't know if it was the same one that he had a tidy up operation on during the season, but during the summer, but the fairly horrendous news is Daniel Farke's immediate response and from the medical team is that Tim has done his ACL, which would be a huge blow. And I mean, Daniel said it means he could be out until March. It means he could be out for the entire season. I think it depends on how bad the ACL injury is. So we will wait that. That's probably going to take a couple of days for scans and tests and swelling and all that stuff gets sorted out. I don't know where it rates in terms of the fears, because I do remember at the end of the season before last, they were really worried that James Maddison had done a proper ligament injury and then it wasn't so bad. But there's no really denying it at the moment that they are seriously worried that Tim Closer will be out for the rest of the season, which of course would be a huge blow for Tim and for the Norwich squad in general. Looking elsewhere on the pitch, so it's first chance to see Patrick Roberts in competitive action, his first minutes. He was in and out of the game. He was quite lively, but kind of also overdid things at times. I feel like he's still kind of getting used to what Norwich want, because he plays quite wider than, say, Emmy does. So it'll be interesting how that develops, because clearly also Patrick does want to cut inside, so it feels like there's maybe some work to do there, but some reasonable promise on a difficult afternoon. The standout highlight, I would say, for me was Ibrahim Amadou, who played very well in central midfield and actually looked very accomplished at centre-back once Zimmerman had gone off, and Ben Godfrey, of course, had to come on for Tim Closer. So some real good signs. I'll try and look into a bit more analysis on Amadou and Roberts over at The Athletic, which should be ready for you in the morning, so keep an eye out for that. Might be late morning or lunchtime. We also saw Sam Byram's first full debut, because he got a couple of minutes against Newcastle and he did okay. And I think that was probably it in terms, I've probably forgotten someone. Oh, and Philip Heiser, who joined in January. It was his first minutes in English football, which is remarkable given he's been here since the start of the year. Defensively got caught out a few times, but actually had good presence going forward and has a nice left peg in terms of the corner delivery. So a bit of promise there, but it's hard to really extract too many positives from what is a difficult night, and even Daniel Farke said that afterwards, so there we go. It is 24 games since Norwich last failed to score. That game was their FA Cup exit at Carabao to Portsmouth, when Norwich only had 10 men, of course, after Grant Hanley's sending off. It was also the last time Timo Pukki didn't start a game for Norwich, and I have to say, you watch this and you think about everything Timo does for the club and for the side at the moment. I don't think there's enough cotton wool in the world to emphasise just how important he is to this Norwich City side in terms of his link-up and general play, and obviously his finishing prowess. But there is something really beautifully direct about Timo as well when he's trying to create a chance. And there was a bit too much faff from Norwich in front of goal tonight, and ultimately that is probably what cost them, because they had the chances and they had the opportunities to really brush Crawley aside, and they couldn't manage it. So concentrate on the league it is. Of course, that is West Ham on Saturday at the London Stadium. I hope you enjoy your first visit there. It will be my first visit since the London Olympics. I haven't been in there since Usain Bolt won whatever it was he won and the closing ceremony, so I'm looking forward to going back. I hope you are too. We'll of course be live here on the YouTube and Facebook channels. Make sure you like or subscribe if you haven't already. Drop some comments in, I think that's the technical term, and I'll try and get back to those. And of course, as I said, The Athletic, make sure you sign up if you haven't already, and I'll get involved in the comments, and you can see my deeper analysis over on there. But until then, have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you possibly before the weekend if I can whip up a preview. If not, we'll see you on Saturday evening, and also there'll be a Q&A I think at The Athletic on Wednesday lunchtime, 1 p.m. I think is the penciled time, so I'll see you on there too. theathletic.co.uk. In the meantime, I'll leave you with the sights and sounds as I stand here, or sit in fact, of Broadfield Stadium. What a place.
No, just this.